My partner gave me $50 to get up in the game. I'll be slinging weed and I moved up the chain. Yeah, this is Brother Dawood. I just want to do the special. It's on Master P doing the Bout It soundtrack and the Bout It movie. When P did his solid deal through Priority Records with the Ice Cream Man, he had plans of wanting to do something big, because he had his slot and he had a deal that was unmatched, and no one in the industry never had a deal that he had received through a record label, which was a P&D pressing and distribution deal, which allowed him to have 85% of the profits, which left Priority with 15%, and their job was to press and distribute his albums and get their money once all the money came in due purchasing power. You follow? Now, with this Bout It movie, it's funny how this whole project came about, because when P got his deal, or when I say that when P connected with Priority, he was telling him of some of the things that he wanted to do. So I forgot the gentleman's name. I think he's somebody that's in the industry, or somebody is connected with Priority Record. They had a meeting one day. He called for a meeting. So when they came into the meeting, he told the gentleman or the people, he said he wanted to do a movie. And the guy, I can't remember who his name is right now. You can't find his information online, by the way. But the dude thought he was crazy. He said, "Now this guy getting ahead of himself. This guy just got a P&D deal through Priority. Now he tripping out doing a movie. Like, slow down. Like, you're a rapper. You know what I'm saying? So stick to rapping. Like, who the hell this guy think he is, that he want to talk about doing a movie now?" But long and behold, P made it a reality. Now, when P was shooting his movie Bout It, P was shooting the movie. He shot some of it in New Orleans. He shot a small number of it in Baton Rouge. Now, some people wonder why the Bout It movie wasn't shot in the Calio projects. Only a small fraction of the movie was shot in the Calio projects. The part being when he met up with Randall in the movie to get information on who kidnapped his brother Silk. And Randall was the one that had the jersey on with the Rockwaller walking through the courtways of Calio projects. And he told P that Silk was kidnapped. That Silk was kidnapped. He was telling him about the dude named Half Pint, who was one of the people that kidnapped Silk, because Half Pint was working for Officer Friendly. That was the only part shot in the Calio projects. And the reason why the movie wasn't necessarily shot in the Calio projects totally, because of the politics that was going on, a lot of the street stuff, and a lot of politics, like some of the management and some of the people. Because prior to really the Bout It movie, he shot the Bout It video and the Ice Cream Man there. See, the Ice Cream Man was video, all that was being shot, but it was like the tension, a lot of stuff that was happening in the Calio projects. But I'm gonna get to some of the people that had a problem with it later on in this video. So he shot the video in certain parts of New Orleans, and he shot some of it, a little bit in Baton Rouge. You know, at this time, P was coming into his position of power, so to say. All right, you follow? So now, with this whole position and everything that he was coming into, in this movie, he had a couple of cameos in the movie. He had Matt 10 that he had to play as his cousin that came from Cali. He had Boz playing his brother Kevin Miller. Mr. Servon playing as Pac-Man. We had Suave Bob in that movie. He was the gentleman that owned the cab company that P and Kev was working for in the movie. When he was like, nigga, y'all niggas go out there and make my money, baby. And he jumped on the cab. And then you had Moon Jones playing as Officer Friendly. And then you can't forget another funny character in that movie, Dope Fiend Willie. You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace to Dope Fiend Willie. You know, like the lot of movie, each character in that movie made that movie dope. It was dope. You know what I'm saying? And when, all right, I'm gonna just do it like this. This movie, when Pete put this movie together, you know, he was one of the dudes that was helping hold the camera at some of the scenes. You know, between P, Boz, and I think his name Duffy, Rich, somebody I forgot. Matter of fact, it's my man, the one that played the cop, the one that plays I can't remember his name right now. The one that played Officer Friendly's partner. They was the cameraman shooting that movie about it. And I remember he said in an interview about that whole story I told you about, when they were shooting the movie about it, it was some dudes from the Magnolia on the side watching the movie being filmed. And they kept, you know, screaming and hollering and interrupting the movie set because they wanted to be in the movie. You know, so P had to come and defuse the matter. And when they saw that it was P shooting this film, they like, oh yeah, we know you. Like, you know, they came, they acknowledged and respect him because they know who he was from, like, the hood and all that. So it's like, you know, he came to the sideline and, you know, and talked to the dudes about, you know, the whole thing that was his project they were shooting. It wasn't really nothing like no crazy or no beef stuff, but they didn't know what was actually being filmed at first, but they really wanted to get into that movie, you know what I'm saying, when they seen like the filming and stuff going on. So that's how that whole thing went. Like, he like quieted down the whole the commotion that was going on. So, and it was said that a lot of those people that played the Bout movie, that P was hitting them off with cash, paying them, and he was paying them through cash in brown paper bags. Said that it looked like the bags had like grease stains on them when he's paying them. So yeah. So when the movie got done, right? When they filmed, like when they put the movie together and all that, because all right, they put the movie together. It was complete. He went out. He had I want to say draft, or Master P called for numerous artists to be a part of the soundtrack. You know, he called the likes of EA Ski, E40, Bun B, Pimp C. At this time, Mystical wasn't even on No Limit. He was still part of Big Boy / Job, but he was on the soundtrack. Brother Lynch Hung from the West Coast. JT the Bigger Figure, another West Coast artist. He had the Ghetto Twins. I believe they was on Rap A Lot at the time. You know, of course his brothers in them. The Silky C Murder, you know, and P, they coming together for him true. You had that Gambino family on that bad boy. Mac, Prime Suspects, Mia X. Who else was on that soundtrack? I don't want to leave out nobody. Mr. Servon. Trying to think. I don't want to. I said, let me see. Who else? I said E40, Young Bleed. Oh, I can't. How can I forget Fiend? You know that Fiend song. Don't f around. That song and that part of the Bout It movie, man, that's legendary, man. It's like when that boom 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 boom, when that song come on, doom doom, and then the scene, and it show P counting his money, it's showing his grind. So when it show that part of the Bout It movie and that Fiend on F around song, man, it brings out that, it just brings out, you know, the authenticity of that scene. You know what I'm saying? Cain and Abel was on that soundtrack as well, and in the movie. Matter of fact, a lot of people was in that movie. You know, Prime Suspects, my man, I think it's Little Uzi, I believe, Skanoos. They were the ones that kidnapped Silk in that movie. Mac wasn't in the movie, I believe. I know Big Ed was in the Bout It movie. He's one of the dudes that was playing basketball when the little kid say, "Hey P, what Pac-Man?" And then he said, "If you mess with me, you get taken out of the game." If you look at that scene in the movie, Big Ed was in that movie on that part. You know, of course, C Murder played as P Brother Q in that movie there. I said JT Big Figure. I think I named, oh yeah, Sons of Funk, Mercedes. Yeah, I named everybody that was on that soundtrack. But that fucking soundtrack, man, I don't care what nobody says, that's the best movie soundtrack that ever was put out. And the way how each song comes in on certain parts of the movie, it brings out the movie. The movie brings out the music, and the music brings out the movie. You know what I'm saying? But now they have a meeting. P come to them with the finished project. He like, I got this movie. It's done and all that. They looking at him like, how the hell we gonna put out he said, how we gonna put a movie in a theater? He said, we're not gonna put it in a theater. We're gonna put it out to the record store. So how can we put out something of that format to the stores? Then we're gonna put it out as an album. So, long and behold, they did that there. They put out the Bout It movie as in a movie format. And they didn't think that it was gonna move or sell the way that it did. When them bad boys hit the shelf, them things sold like it wasn't nothing, man. They sold like hotcakes. They sold quick. So now you had all these big, I think you had Tower Records, the Sam Goodies, the Camelots, the Wiz, all these stores, you know, going crazy for reorders. And at this time, this was VHS format. It's really before the DVD thing really took off. You know, they had back orders. They had numerous orders, like stores wanting 50,000 copies of this Bout It movie. And then on top of that, they had the soundtrack. And what's dope about this whole movie and soundtrack, that when they had it shipped out to these major stores, they had these big displays. So when you look at the display, it had the VHS tapes on one part of the display, and then it had the cassette tapes and the CDs. So when you see this, even if you wasn't a No Limit or Masterpiece fan, you seen this, you're like, what the hell is this? You looking at a movie and a soundtrack. So on the strength of his presentation, how that thing looked, people was copying it. And then you had his day one fans supporting and buying this movie and soundtrack, you know. But it was dope, man. P had a lot of street people in that movie too, man. That's the crazy part about it too, man. And I remember they was hating on P. Nah, I don't want to necessarily hating, but it was words being said that how P music was influencing a lot of the dudes out in the street. Because remember when P, he came, this at the time P back in New Orleans, now it's like 96, 97. When the movie came out, 97. I think around March 97 or May, somewhere around that time. But his template, his swag and all that, what you want to call that there, his how he carried the stuff, a lot of people started carrying or mimicking P and No Limit because how they came. So I was one of the ladies that was part of the board of Calio Projects. I think her name was Yvonne Marrero. You know, her son was out there in the street too, Ernest Marrero. But, you know, prior to Ernest's situation that happened, I'm not going to talk about that, but she had did some type, it was an interview or something like that she did. Or, it was an interview or something she did, an article, something. And she was talking about the rap music, how this rap music got these young kids' mind going. And she mentioned Master P in the interview, you know, saying that how when he came, you know, he just, not necessarily him, so to say, but she was saying that a lot of the artists and rappers was perpetuating the crime life. And she did mention P though, that these kids started running around wanting to get all these tattoos and all these different things, and she, I think somewhat she was trying to put it all on P because he was that man, he was the template. And I'm gonna tell you something about this. P was the first person that did that. You know, people talk about the whole Death Row when what's his name? When they came out with the Murder Was the Case movie. But I don't think it was a soundtrack to it. Pete, the Bout It movie changed the game. He came out with the movie and a soundtrack. Same case. One just the movie, one just the soundtrack. And after that, people followed Pete lead and wanting to do the movie / soundtrack. And you know that once Pete finished doing that Bout It movie and the soundtrack, I think like he came out with that movie, I Got the Hook Up. And then right after that, he came out with that, he had the Last Dawn soundtrack and movie. And he came out with that The Game to Be Sold, Not Told, the one with Snoop. The movie and the soundtrack for that. He formed the template. He did something that was never done before. And he had full control of his label. And the people at Priority was upset or got mad at him, saying that he couldn't put out an album every week that he was doing, or at the rate he was doing. They said, you can't do that. He said, I could do what I want to do. This is my own label. So he was putting out like albums like every Tuesday or every other Tuesday, you know. And you saw those albums and those movies being promoted in the Vibe magazines, you know, the Source magazines, you know, Murder Dog, all those magazines that was being put out. And every time you seen those album being promoted in those magazines, you kind of got excited because you always was looking for the next act when you heard one. And inside of those album covers, he was promoting an artist before they even came out. And it's funny because what's his name? JT the Bigger Figure always say that he was the one that gave Pete game on that. He the one that advised Pete on promoting your artists and your album cover prior to them coming out, so people could get familiar with them and see them in your album and on your album before they come out. And then you reverse it and when the album come out, you put your name on the front of it as executive producer, so that people support everything that you're associated with. You follow? But yeah, and when that Bout It movie, it introduced the world to New Orleans. You heard about New Orleans earlier, you know, like before P came on. Like you see certain movies that came out in the back of the day. You hear about Mardi Gras, but P opened up New Orleans wide to the world. He put the attention to New Orleans, and that's how the whole thing comes about, where they wanted to find another act coming up out of the city, out of New Orleans, and that's how Cash Money came about, because they said, all right, since we got this person, this dude right here, that's out being juiced to the world, let's see what else down there. When they went down into the city and seen the track record or heard the music of Cash Money, that's how Cash Money wound up getting a deal or being recognized like that, because of P, because he opened up the door like that, and they was looking for that next thing to come up out of the city, and it was Cash Money Records. You follow? But I'll be doing something on Cash Money real soon, and I got a couple of videos coming out. I'm coming, you know, I got a lot of videos. It's that I've been sick, so I'm still in recovery, but I got a lot of videos I'm gonna be touching on, like I said before. So that's what it is, man. That Bout It soundtrack, man, it was the template, and it set the format, and it started a chain reaction of independent movie and films that hit the market. You follow? Yeah, hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed to the page, and hit that like button. You follow? I like to say I'm outie like an old school 500 XCL. No, but shalom, salams, Godspeed.